Hey friends, my name is Catherine and I have got a bunch of stuff piled onto my workstation today because we are going to be making rope perches. The key to rope perches is the kind of rope that you use and the fact that there's wire down the middle so that it's bendable and it will stay where you put it. That way you can bend it and you can make things like boings and just general rope perches from them. This one is almost finished. I'd like to finish my perches off by putting a PVC cap over the end so that the birds cannot get at the ends or the zip tie that I use to hold the rope onto the wire so that everything stays in place and they can't tear it apart and ruin it all that much sooner. But rope perches are destructible, which means you don't want to spend a lot of money on them. And a perch like this size, there to there, this is probably 3 feet long. A perch this size in a pet store might go for $20 or $30, whereas I probably spent $2 or $3 making this perch. So I'm going to show you how we make them. You're going to need some rope. This rope and this rope are from the Knot dog toys, like the tug of war dog toys that you can get for just super cheap anywhere. I think the dollar store even has them. But you want to make sure that you get the twisted rope, not the braided rope, and that's going to be important for this. You can make rope perches out of different ropes, different widths, different thicknesses, different number of twists, and that's actually going to be important too because different sizes of perch is good for your bird's feet. Use different perches, don't just use rope perches, of course. Different sizes, different textures, different everything is going to be important for your bird's foot health. And since they are standing all the time, it's important to make sure that they've got different things, soft things, hard things, different things to stand on. This is one of my favorite ropes, but we're going to be making a bigger one today. Now you're going to need to determine how long you want your rope perch to be. This piece of rope is 5.5 feet long. I just held it from hand to hand to guess how long it was. And this bit of rope is like 5.5 feet long, which is actually longer than I want. It would be perfect if I were making like a large boing, but I want to make a regular perch with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and find the middle, and then with a couple of zip ties, I'm going to tie it off and cut it. You want to tie it off before you cut it, because if you cut it first with the twisted rope like this, it'll just come unraveled. And if it comes unraveled, you're going to have a beast of a time getting it raveled back up again. So you'll just want to take and zip tie it off first at the place that you want to cut it at. Go. Go. Okay. And then you're going to take whatever pair of scissors you've got handy that you don't mind ruining and just saw through that sucker. This is one of the hardest parts, getting cut all the way through. Okay, but there we have it. All sawed through. Now I have 2 pieces of rope that are a little longer than 2 feet each, which is perfect. I'm going to take half of this and set half of it to the side. I'll do another perch from that later. We're going to be making a perch from this half of a rope. Well, half of that section of rope that I got. That was maybe a $5 or $6 rope when it was all together, and I've gotten, this is going to be the 4th perch that I'm going to get out of it. which is why it is so cheap. But what you're going to want to do is take a heavy duty wire, one that you can still bend, but one that will be able to support your bird's weight. So naturally, if you've got a larger bird, you're going to want a heavier wire, whereas with smaller birds, you don't necessarily need that heavy of a wire, but you're still going to want something that can support your bird's weight, and also the weight of the rope. Because if the rope's heavy enough that it can bend the wire on its own, it's going to do you no good to bend it into whatever shape you want, because it'll just come right back out again. Then what we're going to do is take and between two of the coils, we're just going to take and shove our rope through, or not rope, sorry, shove our wire through our zip tie. That will give us a good starting point, and then we're going to tighten the zip tie down as far as it will lock down. Then we've got a wire resting comfortably between two of those coils of rope, and we're going to start wrapping the rope around the wire. And if you wrap in the direction that the rope is twisting, and this is why it's important to have the twisted rope, the wire will naturally settle right into the center of the rope. See? I don't know if you can see this, but already the wire is in the middle of this section of rope. So we're just going to keep on twisting. Just make sure that you don't get one of your strands of rope crossed over the wire, because if you do, you'll have a section of wire outside of the rope, and you don't really want that. It doesn't look very nice, and your bird could start chewing on wire, which is not something you particularly want. Not particularly bad, just also not something that you want. Alright, and then we're just going to keep on twisting the rope around the wire. Go. Oh, that tried to cross over the rope there. It'll do that every once in a while. But there we go. I've got this much length now with the wire down the center. And you'll just keep on working the rope around the wire until you reach the end, which I'm not quite there yet. Oh, why are you not working inside? The wire was bending. Go, come on you. Trying to keep your wire straight and turn your rope. That's going to be kind of key to this. Come on you. There we go. You can kind of untwist your rope a little bit too, like twist it away from the direction that it wants to twist, which will help loosen it up a little bit so that it can settle around the wire a little bit easier. And then, so if my rope twists this direction, I would turn it in this direction to open it up so that it can settle around the wire a little bit easier. And then it should settle all the way down to the end. And then what we're going to do is take and grab another zip tie and wrap it around the wire over the first one. And this is what's going to prevent our end from unraveling and running away on us when we cut the first zip tie. There we go. And then I like to use wire cutters to cut zip ties, but there we go. The original zip tie is removed, and now the wire is inside of the zip tie on the end rather than outside of the zip tie on the end. And I can just kind of work it down to the center of the rope and clip off the end of that wire at a length where I think it will be easy to work with, and then set this whole thing aside for another day, another project. And then what we'll want to do is make sure that we get these zip ties tightened down as far as they will go. So, breaking it off with pliers is not ideal, but it does mean that we've got it as tight as it's going to go. And then let's go to the other end and just make sure it's as tight as it is going to go. Pull the wire to the center over there as well, and then just and we can trim that one off. Okay, and there we have it. Now, this could just be attached inside the perch, right, like, or perch cage, right, like this. You've got wires sticking out the end, so you could just wrap those around the bars of your cage, and that would be that. It would be a shorter, you'd have a shorter life on this perch than you would on a store-bought one if you did that, because it's got the raw ends and the exposed zip ties, and if your birds can get at those, they're going to chew them, and if they chew them, they're going to tear it apart. But there's a trick for that. You can get little PVC end caps. These caps go on the end of PVC, and just slide it down over your ends, and you can shove everything inside with a little bit of patience, including to make sure that you get the zip tie inside of the PVC end cap, and then you can wrap your wire ends around the bars of your cage, and you've got no exposed ends or exposed zip tie, so you don't have to worry about your bird pulling it apart. Like, that takes a little bit of patience and time, but you can absolutely do it, and it is a great way to extend the life of your rope perches. And the PVC ends are entirely reusable, so they're really great, and I definitely do recommend them if you want to make sure that your perches last a little while. They are a destructible toy, so they are going to be something that your bird tears apart, but that's all right. Better a rope perch that you made for $2 than one that you bought for $30. Anyway, this is what I did today. I would love to see what you're doing today. Let me know down in the comments below, and remember to subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye!